data, the disclosure of which may damage national security. Educate your staff and family, particularly on measures to safeguard information and report security breaches. Apply relevant legal security guidelines to protect yourself and your neighbors. Due to misinformation and wrong choices, some idle persons resort to vices in their greed to get rich quick. They resort to kidnapping, killings for rituals, and other heinous crimes. Avoid wrong use of the social media. Before you broadcast that false message, think twice. Ask whether it will promote peace or violence. For safety at home, still be security conscious. Educate your household on safety tips. Report all suspicious movements and persons to the security agencies nearest to you. Be a good citizen. Be patriotic. To pass security information, please call 0813-222-2105, 0915-339-1309, 0908-837-3514, or send a mail to dsspr@dss.gov.ng. This message is from the Department of State Services, DSS.
Welcome back. Well, in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. And now to COVID-19 update. Los Angeles prosecutors have announced felony charges in connection with a deadly COVID-19 outbreak that occurred at an upscale assisted living facility early in the pandemic. The charges, which include felony, follow a 2.5-year investigation into the death of the staff member, identified as 32-year-old Brittany Ringo. During a press briefing on Tuesday, prosecutors revealed that 60 residents and 45 employees at Silverado Beverly Place contracted COVID-19. LA County District Attorney George Gascon called it one of the worst outbreaks of COVID-19 in an assisted living facility in California. Pfizer Incorporated has agreed to extend its COVID-19 vaccine contract from 2023 to 2026 with the European Union. According to reports, the drug maker has offered to cut the number of doses being supplied by 40% and delay delivery of the shots. Under the revised terms, Pfizer is asking for payment for doses ordered that would never be manufactured. The new terms were presented to health ministers of member states in a private meeting, according to reports. We'll take another break and be back with more stories in business, the foreign scene, entertainment, as well as sports. To stay with us. And now to business. The International Air Transport Association, IATA, has disclosed that the trapped funds belonging to foreign airlines operating in Nigeria have risen by 12.39% to over $7 million in January 2023 from $662 million in the corresponding period last year. IATA disclosed this in a letter addressed to the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, signed by the area manager West and Central Africa, Samson Fatokun, while highlighting the socio-economic impacts of the airline blocked funds in Nigeria. Fatakun said the increasing blockage of blocked funds of international airlines will impact negatively the foreign direct investment in the country. IATA urged Minister to intervene and ensure the resolution of the issue of airlines blocked funds in the country. Well, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says Nigeria's technology ecosystem accounts for almost 30% of Africa's funded ventures, with no fewer than 180 startups. Osinbajo said this at the official inauguration of the Investment in Digital and Creative Enterprises program and the unveiling of IDICE logo on Tuesday at the State House in Abuja. According to the Vice President, the influx of private capital has enabled startups to expand operations and create new jobs jobs while contributing significantly towards overall gross domestic products growth of the economy. Oil prices rebounded more than 1% on Wednesday, recovering from the previous day's plunge as a stronger OPEC outlook on China's demand helped offset bearish global investor sentiment in the wake of the recent U.S. bank failures. Brent crude futures climbed 93 cents to $78 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained 96 cents to $72 a barrel. On Tuesday, the benchmarks fell more than 4% to a three-month low. On the foreign scene, a military sergeant who exposed the Chinese government's cover-up of the severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS epidemic 20 years ago has died at the age of 91. Dr. Jiang Yangyong, who lived for years under intermittent house arrest in Beijing, died of pneumonia and other illnesses on Saturday. Jiang, who has been the chief surgeon at the Chinese People's Liberation Army General Hospital before he retired, became a national hero by exposing the government's cover-up of the extent of the SARS epidemic in 2003. The authorities had cut off Jiang's contact with the outside world and restricted his movements since. And now to the sporting scene. FIFA has agreed to change in format that will add 24 more games than originally planned to the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is set to take place in Canada, the United States and Mexico. The governing bodies council announced on Tuesday that they have approved a new format for the World Cup, which will feature 48 teams instead of the original 32. This change will add 24 more games to the tournament, making it a 104-game tournament that will last nearly 40 days. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Bye for now.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Hello and welcome to another edition of What's Your Take? I am Dayo Akintobi and it's a pleasure to be with you here again this glorious Monday morning. And how has your week been? This has been a very interesting week on the landscape of Nigeria, especially to do with politics. We saw, first of all, the postponement of the governorship elections by 1 week by the electoral umpire. We'll talk about that as we get into the show. And of course, we also saw all kinds of developments during the week in terms of people scrambling to try and meet up with the political activity. We saw governorship candidates eating ice cream with commoners. We heard of another governor who drinks 40-year-old whiskey at 9 a.m. in the morning. I mean, it's just been all kinds of stuff. There's also been tragedy as well. There was a sad story of a journalist in Ibadan who, because he didn't have cash, was walking, had to trek to his radio station and slumped along the way and lost his life. That's another casualty of the Naira redesign policy. So we've got that and a whole bunch of other interesting stories. We've got a guest in the studio who will also join me to analyze those major stories that made the headlines last week. And we'll take it from there. As with me, as always, is my trusty sidekick and newscaster, Yetunde Afolabi. Yetunde, how are you today?
Good morning, Dayo. I'm very well, thank you.
Good to see you. How was your weekend?
My weekend was relaxing. It was quiet.
Anything interesting happened your way?
Not really.
Well, in my neck of the woods, the funny thing is, the only big news was that the guys who had planned to play football in the streets on Saturday were disappointed. They had planned all kinds of league matches. You know that because during the elections, there's restriction of movement, so there's no cars moving. So in my neighborhood, the streets become football pitches. So the only complaints I heard during the week was the young lads who had planned to play football on the street, who suddenly found out, they had to cancel their plans because cars were everywhere on Saturday because there was no election. Anyway, so how's the cashless thing doing you as well? Have you been able to get over this not having Naira? How have you sorted out not having cash?
I think I'm starting to adapt to the fact that cash is gold right now. So I'm tending towards the bank apps and the online, banking system.
Are all the vendors you deal with taking transfers and POS? Because I'm aware that a young lad around my house tried to go and buy bread and tried to go and buy plantain a few days ago, and they simply said they don't accept transfers.
I've luckily been able to swivel my way around. So I've seen bread sellers that accept transfers, petty traders that accept transfers as well. So I'm quite lucky, I would say.
Okay, well, let's hope all of the rest of Nigeria is as lucky, or in the alternative, maybe the CBN will comply with the Supreme Court's directive one of these days and let us begin to see cash. Let cash flow, both the old notes, the new notes, let it flow nicely. But we'll talk about that in the program as we go along. So let me introduce my guest. Joining me to take a look at the big stories that made the headlines last week is Michael Adebowale. Michael is the Social Secretary of the National Youth Council of Nigeria, Koshofe chapter. Michael also serves as the Sergeant at Arms, Youth Assembly of Nigeria, Lagos State chapter. Welcome to What's Your Take, Michael? You have a very rich resume in youth organizations. Might you be planning on getting involved in politics down the road?
It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm glad I could make it.
Yes, we're very happy to have you, and we look forward to a robust and engaging time talking about the big headlines of the week. As we know, the future belongs to the youth. Nigeria already is transitioning from us old soldiers to the next guard, which is the youth, and they're already coming into reckoning. So I'm glad to have Michael with us today to give us the youth perspective on the major stories that are making the headlines in Nigeria today and throughout last week. All right, over to you. Today, what do you have for us to talk about first?
INEC postpones governorship, other elections for BVAS reconfiguration. Results viewing portal, IREV, now working, ready for governorship polls, says INEC. In addition, the Electoral Commission says reconfiguration of the BVAS machine ends today, Monday the 13th, and promises the technology will work seamlessly next Saturday for the governorship and state houses of assembly elections. Over to you, Dayo.
Michael, How do you see this postponement of the governorship elections? Was it the right thing to do by INEC? Has it kind of destabilized the whole electioneering process? Has it put some candidates at a disadvantage? Has it put others at an advantage? What do you think? Was the postponement a good thing?
Yeah, I think the postponement was a good thing. Looking at the last elections and look at what played out. No party or no party candidate will have any excuse now. Also for INEC too, they will not have any excuse to give concerning the election results. So I think they just use that 1 week extension to perfect all their plans, and hopefully after the elections we won't have any disgruntled persons, complaining about the result of the elections.
So when you talk about disgruntled persons, are you saying that the first election left a lot of people disgruntled? Do you agree with that the first election didn't meet up to expectations and left a lot of people disgruntled?
To me, from my own perspective, I won't say it didn't meet up. I just felt that the people who lost out just wanted something to hold on to, as a reason for their loss.
But INEC has admitted that the BVAS didn't upload results. Are you saying the electronic transmission of results is meaningless and doing it the manual way is okay?
No. If you look at the true state of the matter, the only reason why the BVAS was supposed to upload results to the server was for people like you and I to gain access to it. Not just only the people who, were to be voted for everybody. And to me, why I don't see anything wrong in it is we had party agents from each party who had different polling units, who had result sheets, and they all signed. And that was the same result sheet that was taken to Abuja. So you now coming to complain about the results because it was not uploaded has not been correct. I think you're just trying to.
So what you're saying is, as long as the results tally, even if it was not uploaded electronically, as long as what was signed by the party agents at the polling unit tallies with what INEC declared in Abuja, what's the issue? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because we all live in a world of technologies, and somehow we always have technology glitches.
Yes.
So an INEC came out to say that the server was attacked 62 times.
Okay.
So it wasn't safe for them to upload the results into the server. Okay. So I think that's quite understandable.
Yes, indeed. I mean, no technology is perfect, but nonetheless, the point is that INEC promised before the election that its technology would work seamlessly. It also issued guidelines in accordance with the Electoral Act 2022, and its guidelines stated that electronic transmission of results would be the way they would do this thing. And that has, of course, opened the door to challenges based on the fact that they didn't do that.
Also, the Electoral Act also stipulates that INEC can decide how they want to announce results, manually or electronically.
Yes.
It wasn't compulsory.
Okay.
They only did that, to make things easier.
Or like more transparent.
Yes.
And more credible.
Will I say transparent? I don't think transparency is an issue here. Because, like I said earlier, the results with all the party agents.
Yes.
So it's just, we came into a place to listen to results we already have.
Yes.
And I remember doing the electoral, the INEC, collation of the results.
Yes.
Somebody from, I think, I forgot the party, stood up to complain. And the response from the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmood, was, you have the results with you. As these results are being collated, if you have any issues, stand up and talk.
Spoken like a true politician, perhaps said there's politics in Michael's future here. But nonetheless, I think the major issue about whether the results tally between what was at the polling unit and signed by party agents and what was declared by INEC, I think that's secondary. Even though, yes, party agents, but how about the electorate, the voters, who are the ultimate arbiter? They are the ones who are now kind of shortchanged by virtue of the fact that the way it was promised to be done was not done and has created a trust deficit and some measure of suspicion. So the burden of proof now is on INEC to show that despite the failure of its promised methodology, that there's integrity in the results it declared. I think the burden of proof on that is on INEC. All right, Yetunde, what do you have for us next?
Presidential poll. PDP governors, leaders protest at INEC head office in Abuja. Insist elections were flawed. PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar demands results cancellation. What's your take on this, Dio?
Well, my take on this simply is that that's part of democracy. We have the freedom to dissent or to not agree, and the way to express disgruntlement is to go to the courts, which is what I believe the PDP has said is going to do and the Labour Party has said is going to do. Calling for cancellation of the elections, well, it's easy to call for anything you like. At the end of the day, it's going to be up to the courts as to what they do. But let's hear what Michael thinks about what Atiku is asking for. It seems like he's directed his comments at INEC because obviously if he's going to direct it at the courts, he would do it through a brief or an application he files at the court. What do you think about this whole PDP protest? We saw them in black t-shirts last week marching to INEC office. It was a peaceful protest. It was a protest of disagreement, disgruntlement, dissatisfaction. And in the aftermath of that, Atiku now called for the cancellation of the elections. What do you think, Michael?
I think the first thing I'll first say is you don't come out and say you want to cancel results. This is an election that took a lot of process, the planning, the financial aspect, and you come out to say it should be cancelled. I don't think that's the best.
What happens if you are not satisfied with the results? These
are results. To me, they should be recounted if you feel the results are not right. And looking at these elections, we had the presidential elections, the House of Rep elections, and the Senate elections all held the same day. If you are going to vote that day, you'll be given 3 sheets.
Yes. And
at the same time, you're going to vote.
Yes.
So why are you after the presidential election? Was it possible for INEC officials to rig only the presidential and leave the House of Rep? So this is my own personal opinion. So I find it quite strange. They didn't contest the House of Reps results. They did not contest the senatorial results. So why the presidential election? So like people have said, I've been watching TV, I've been listening to radio programs, and most of the lawyers, the SANs we have in this country have said the best place to go to is the court. And I know for sure the court would want to go back and look at the results and will not ask for cancellation of the results.
The court will, yes, definitely look at the evidence that's placed before it and use it to determine. I think they say the standard that the court adopts is that did the lapses or the shortcomings of the election lead to a substantial difference in what the outcome of the results would have been. If they find it wouldn't have made a difference whatsoever, whether it was BVAS failure, whether it was voter intimidation, voter suppression, whether it was stealing of ballot boxes and BVASs, whatever the causes of the lapses may have been, if the evidence does not prove that those lapses did not materially change the outcome of the results, then there's no case.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Exactly.
Indeed. Interesting. Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see because the Labour Party also is contesting the outcome. And they have also said they are going to court. Matter of fact, I think I read today that Labour Party said they are going to have a protest. They are going to occupy all INEC offices in the country as a means of protest. What do you think of that?
Well, to me that's funny because I'm not trying to mock any party, but we've seen in the past that most of these protests lead to nothing. The best place is still the court. Well, I was even looking at the Atiku protest. These guys were less than 100. And some of them claim to be from different organizations. And from investigations, we found out that they are party members of this disgruntled party. And according to the news, the Supreme Court has given the Labour Party some candidates, Mr. Peter Obi, and his entourage, access to go and inspect the election materials. So let's see what the outcome will be, because I saw Peter Obi on TV saying he won the elections and he's going to prove it. So we are waiting.
Yes, we wait and we see.
It will be very interesting.
It will be interesting to see. It's interesting days ahead, long days still, but let's see how it all plays out in the interest of democracy and Nigeria. All right, Yetne, let's move on.
Supreme Court's order on old notes. Banks in partial compliance begin skeletal recirculation. Deposit money banks in the country have begun partial compliance with the Supreme Court's order approving the use of old 1,000, 500, and 200 Naira notes as legal tender till December 31st, 2023. The court has said that the federal government's Naira redesign policy contravened the 1999 Constitution. Meanwhile, few banks paid out the old notes during the week, while others were awaiting directives from the CBN, which remained silent. Most ATMs remained dry, while skeptical bank customers and traders rejected the old notes. As rejection of the old Naira notes spreads, reports say the economy has shed 20 trillion Naira as the Naira redesign policy has weakened productivity and emasculated small and medium-scale enterprises across the country. What's your guest's take on the Naira crisis, Dio?
Well, Michael, money, 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 no money in the pocket, no money in the hand, no money in the wallet, no money, but money in the bank account. How do you, okay, so the bank started giving out the old 1,500 Naira note last week. The CBN hasn't spoken up, the presidency hasn't spoken up, but the Supreme Court has said those notes remain legal tender till December 31. But the CBN, who is the regulator of the banks, hasn't said anything till now. So some banks are still saying, our Oga has not spoken, we can't do anything. And even the ones that are doing, they are giving out very small quantities, and many consumers are not even accepting them because they say the traders won't accept them in the marketplace, transporters won't accept them. So we are still caught between a rock and a hard place. We are still in limbo and people are suffering. How do you see this whole money problem?
And this is what I call in my own terms, partial anarchy.
Partial anarchy.
Exactly. This is a disrespect to our legal system.
Disrespect by who?
I think by the people playing the business and the banking sector. I think, like I was telling my students, I said, right now in my mind, I know there has been a cartel that has decided to make money from this crisis. Because, yes, we have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative, here at play. Now the judiciary has said, spend this money. The old notes, the new notes, side by side. Now, the executive, who is supposed to enforce it, is mute on it.
Can the Supreme Court order the executive? Are you saying the Supreme Court is more powerful than the executive?
I'm not saying powerful, but in my own understanding, I think they are almost at par.
So if they are at par, how can one tell the other what to do?
Because it is its duty to do that. There's a dispute between people based on this crisis, and they've gone to court, and the court has said, okay, till December 31st, both old notes and new notes remains legal tender. We don't even need the CBN governor to come out and say anything. The law or the order is meant to be just obeyed outrightly. But because of how things have been in the past, people are waiting for Mr. Godwin Emefiele to come out and say something. He's not saying anything. And it's to me, this anti-people policy. Because you've done something which you told us will help us, now it's not hurting us.
Well, we read that 20 trillion has evaporated from Nigeria's economy. The economy has basically ground to a halt. I mean, there's almost zero trading activity going on now, and even people's ability to meet their daily requirements of clothing, shelter, movement, all that is severely truncated. So when you say the CBN governor is not speaking out, should the banks just go ahead and ignore him and meet their obligations to their customers? After all, this money in the banks belongs to the people.
Like what I said there are people in the banking sector, who who decided to make money from this. I was talking to a friend of mine and he told me, you know, he needed cash to run his business. And so I said, okay, I'll introduce you to somebody. He got to the person's office and met hundreds of new notes lying on the floor. This person was supplying this money to POS merchants.
But the CBN as the regulator, can they police the sector? Or are you saying the CBN is complicit in the underhand making of money from this?
Of course. Who prints money? It's the CBN. So definitely, the CBN is the number one person or number one institution who is aiding and abetting this POS merchant. Okay, when I was coming out, I needed cash. I didn't have cash. Most of my transactions, has been transferred. And I told the lady, I need 5,000. I said, can't get up to 5,000. I'm giving you 2,000. I said, just give it to me. And I noticed that all of us that came there, nobody could get above 1,000, 2,000. So definitely it means the lady will be up to like 100,000 cash. But just because she's giving out 2,000 for 600.
How much did you have to pay for that?
600.
600 to get 2,000. So we're having to buy our own money now.
In fact,
wow.
Very, very, very painful.
Very, very painful. The thing, the major thing though is that it's gotten to a point now where the CBN needs to speak up, because despite the Supreme Court ruling, people are still hesitant because people are scared that suppose this money becomes obsolete in my hand, it's only the CBN really that can give value to the money at the end of the day. If the CBN refuses to collect it, the money becomes useless in people's hands. So traders are not collecting it, consumers are not collecting it from the banks. So CBN really, we encourage the CBN, say something, stand up, look Nigerian people in the eye today and say something so that our lives can start back up again. We've been comatose for too long. Thank you, CBN. Yesterday, next.
Anger as gunmen kill 35 in Katsina, Kaduna. No fewer than 18 people were feared killed on Saturday evening in Katsina State when terrorists clashed with local security guards. This is just as the death toll of Saturday night's attack in Kaduna State rose to 17 in an incident that pitted cow herders against local farmers. Dayo, we haven't heard of these types of attacks in quite a while. Are they back again?
Let me throw that question to you, Michael. I mean, it's been quiet for a while in terms of insecurity, these cow herders and farmer clashes and bandits, or maybe we've just been distracted by politics in the last few weeks to where we've overlooked or ignored those stories. But it seems like things have calmed down a little bit in terms of this insecurity issue. Maybe it's that the army has stepped up with those Super Tucano jets. They've been able to penetrate Sambisa Forest and all these other places. But now, in the last week, there have been 3 or 4 incidents. Look at this one in Katsina and Kaduna. How do you see this? Are these attacks back again? And if they are, what do you think needs to be done that hasn't already been done?
Okay, like you said, for a while, we've not heard of these attacks.
Yes.
And when I was reading through the story, I found that there was a wedding where these terrorists came to attend the wedding of a fellow terrorist. And something happened, there was a clash. And it was that clash that escalated into what we're seeing now. It just goes to show that, like what you said, everything had calmed down. But we still have porous borders. I was reading an article where I looked at the picture of a border between Nigeria and Cameroon. It's just, I put it, there was no fence, nothing. You could just step into Cameroon, and how many step back into Nigeria. So these guys come in and go out freely. And because of just a small clash, that's what has happened. So I think the government needs to fight off this thing once and for all.
Police our borders?
Yes.
Okay, so you believe that most of this is foreign infiltration? You don't think it's homegrown local people doing this?
Where I was living, where I was staying before, I had a chat with the security man. He's from the north. And he told me that these guys are actually people they know. Because it's just like 2 border towns. So they know them. And it's just like, he told me, it's not like you don't see your younger brother for a while. And he comes back. You chat him and you know what's up. So these guys come into Nigeria and out of Nigeria easily. They are mercenaries. They are being paid. So the government needs to work on our borders. And especially in the northern part of Nigeria.
Well, it might sound like cold comfort, but the bottom line is that the army is the one that is responsible for territorial integrity. So if they are really coming from across the border, then the army is actually empowered to go and take the fight to them. Army is not supposed to fight internal insurgencies, really, or anything internal. It's supposed to defend our territorial integrity. So if you are correct that these people are coming from across the border, that gives the army the local standing to go ahead and take the battle to them, and we hope the army will do that in coming days. Okay, Yedne, our last story, we are fast running out of time. So tell us about this disaster that happened in Lagos a few days ago between a train and a bus.
Okay. 6 Lagos workers die, others injured after train-bus collide. The Nigerian Railway Corporation, NRC, and the Lagos State Emergency Management Authority, LASEMA, have blamed the driver of the bus for the accident, and the federal government has ordered a probe. According to the government agencies, the bus driver was reckless and ignored safety warnings by railway staff. Okay. Families and Good Samaritans donate blood as 29 critically injured victims battle for survival. The Lagos State University Teaching Hospital has said there are still 43 victims of Thursday's train bus accident on admission in its facilities. LASUTH had on Thursday said it received 102 victims of the train bus crash for treatment. The Ministry of Health, in a statement on Sunday titled, "Updates on the bus train accident in Lagos as at Sunday, 12th March 2023, explained that 53 victims had been discharged as of March 12. What's your take on this, Dayo?
Well, 102 passengers seems like a lot of people to be on a bus, but my understanding is that a lot of people who would have taken public transport to work didn't have cash and opted to go in the free state transportation provided by the Lagos state government, and that's why there were that many people in the bus. So here we are again, seeing this Naira redesign policy creating havoc and extinguishing innocent Nigerian lives. So back to CBN governor again. Speak up today, Mr. Emefiele. Last word from you, Michael, on this crash between the bus and the train. From a transport perspective, how could it have been avoided?
Yes. Last week Thursday was a Black Thursday for Lagos State, and it's very painful that these people, our teachers, end their lives all because of the mistake of one person. According to the news report, the train was coming and the bus was flagged down to stop, but he thought he could quickly pass through
before the train came.
And maybe some mechanical issues happened, and unfortunately the bus could not go, and that's when the collision happened. 2 people died on the spot, and 4 died
subsequently
and got to the hospital. So I think the driver is just the one to take the blame. He has been apologizing to everybody, but so painful. It could have been avoided, and this is common with most of our drivers. We are still yet to, have a society that obeys traffic law. In Senate climes, if you have the red light stopping you, even though there are no cars,
you still stop.
You still stop.
You don't dare go.
You don't go. You don't even go. But here in Nigeria, they just look, okay, there's no car coming, no car going, let me just go. So it was very painful that his act led
to loss of human life. And that's where we're going to have to leave it for today. We thank Michael Adeboale for joining us. If he's an exemplar of what Nigeria's youth is all about, then the future is very bright for Nigeria, because Michael has been very articulate and incisive with his analysis of the various news stories today. So once again, I thank you for joining us. My name is Dayo Akintobi. We look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of What's Your Take? Have a good day.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the president of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, and use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
A man is his money. That is, the extent of a man's money determines the extent of the power he has in his relationship. How true is this statement?
It's very, very true.
Very true,
very, very true. But I stand to be corrected.
I don't think so.
Hmm?
I don't think so.
Why don't you think so? This is a modern life. So this is what is happening right now.
Stop saying that.
But you know it's true.
See, that the extent of a man's
The extent
money,
of a guy's money determines the extent of his power in his relationship.
Power respects everything.
Power respects everything.
Everything
out
depends
there.
on the lady. It depends on the lady, actually. It's
See,
relative. It depends solely on the lady.
Let me tell you something. It actually depends on the lady. That was before, back then. But now, this
But
is
even now,
this is the modern world now. Things has really changed.
I think with the modern world, according to what
Things
I'm
has really
saying,
changed.
is the truth. It depends
Hey,
on
man,
the extent of the
I don't
man's
know how
respect.
modern your world is. It still works.
See, let me
Like,
tell you something.
it's still relative.
Except if that girl,
in rare cases,
except if that
Why
girl,
you say rare
yeah,
cases?
in some cases, except if that girl, the truth, the thing is, we cannot turn a blind eye to the fact that most times it's actually like how wealthy he is, because I mean you're able to control a lot of things, but I still think that it depends also on the relationship between those two people, because the thing is, you go to some homes it's just about these men that don't have shingbai. If you see how they are running these homes, like people that, okay, I'm even going too far, like these are long people. Like if you see them back home, this was that you talk to anyhow, you do driver, I don't tell you, see now, yeah, they stop. If they go back home, if you see how they act there, that's what I'm telling you that. And again, it depends also on the status of the woman.
Now you're talking.
Depends on the status of the
what
woman,
I was-
because
that
the
was what I
status
was
of the
about to
women
say
and
now.
those men have
I mean, you are-
back home. So again, what is the status of
Don't
the
we have
woman?
ladies that earn more than their husbands and still give them the optimum respect?
How many
Of
percent?
course.
How many percent?
No, I'm not. See, let's not.
Of
Let's
course,
not
there
say
are.
that is what is
There
going
are.
on.
They are very extremely few.
Shades
Very,
of
very
see.
late.
Extremely,
We have
you can
some
count
ladies.
the numbers.
You
can
can handpick them.
Yes. Number of ladies who have money more than their husbands and still
still give
respect
maximum
them
respect, yeah.
that
I
way.
think we could
You
count.
can count.
I don't know, but
Very, very few.
I'm very sure that we have ladies that still respect their husbands, irrespective
They
of
are
the fact that
very,
they
very
earn more.
few. They are very, very
They are
few.
So
few.
let's
We are not saying they
let's
are
not
to.
say
They
like
are.
it's only when
exist,
you have
of
the money
course.
as a guy that the woman is now going to turn you to the Lord of her life. No.
Have you
it's
seen
not.
any guy that has all the money in this world and the woman is treating him like trash?
There would be.
Big question.
You don't see.
Where?
Very rare.
But I go there now.
Where?
Except an
Where?
old man.
Which one be old
Way
man?
young girl just the turn head.
What
Where
if
they
she- what
where
if
they
she
say
has
if she
more
touch
money
him
than
any
him?
small thing, he don't agree. Apart from that,
What if
young
she has
guy,
more
young
money than
babe,
him?
the guy,
What if she has more money than him?
if the babe has more money than
Yeah.
the guy, then that respect no good there.
That's what they say.
The day the guy won't pass the level, she will put him in his place.
Where is this place?
The respect no go
Below
today.
her.
Come on.
That respect no
all
go
those,
dey.
all those kind of people.
Let's be realistic.
All those kind of people get
love.
all those kind of people go respect for that kind of package, and they are very, very rare. Then secondly, if babe go do that one for you, that means the babe she actually they limited to waiting she know. She's not that exposed. But the kind of ladies we are this particular era, we be say their eye don't see.
This is just the truth.
This
is just the truth.
They know ever respect you.
They will not respect the guy. And then if you don't want to respect him, why then marry him? I don't understand.
No, they can marry him because they like the guy now. They like him physique. They like say he's soft.
And then I will not respect him.
And then as time goes on, time goes on. It's just like a babe now that she's used to a very high standard of life now. They go also and boss room, club.
She know a lot
go
of
chop
things.
for
She's
transport.
exposed, well exposed.
She they shop for Dubai. This thing. They can't go marry one guy. Maybe say salary and maybe 120K. Wasted the money. The guy is not broke.
I'll give you guys a scenario.
He's not broke,
but
he's not hungry too. At the same time,
just there.
He won't call the tell the babe say don't go there. Don't go here. What are you doing? Stay there. No, manage this amount. She will rubbish him one day.
I'll give you guys a scenario.
I don't believe that.
I have this. I'll give you guys two scenarios.
Because of the kind of lady.
I have this friend.
Yeah, because of the kind of lady that he married.
Wait
because
now.
there's no explanation to that.
You see this thing these guys are saying is true.
Even if he's not having that kind of money, maybe she's even down. If she wants to be like that all around, she can still be.
She won't.
Nah, lie.
But she will.
Wait, make I explain.
Let Emmanuel talk.
Let's hear Emmanuel.
I have this friend. Probably any day she gets to watch the show, she'll know the one I'm talking about. But to a large extent, she get the kind of money we fit take care of her. But for her head, she feel say she get the whole money for this world. You know, because maybe she could travel abroad, she could afford to buy a car, afford to say she wants to go and have lunch in Transcorp, all of these kind of things. And then when she's talking to guys, you see that disrespect.
Bossy.
That she, yeah, like my ex, before all my ex, they enjoy me. Anyone that loses me is his loss. This one, I gave this one money, he misbehaved. So men are this. You see that element of pride in her.
Yeah, but
that's the personality problem.
Even with guys that still have money, she's still doing it.
Personality problem.
That's what I'm
It's not a
telling
gender
you. Most
problem.
later, most ladies,
it's not a gender
true.
problem.
It is.
has
Most
nothing to do
ladies,
with
we
feminism,
only
please.
respect the guy
when he has
based
money.
on the kind of money he has.
Let me say something.
Based on the kind of money he has,
Let me say something.
You control basically everything.
Emmanuel, can I say something? Okay.
I don't see a poor man that gave respect.
The thing is that we have to.
Which one is
we have
poor
to
man?
be,
Man that can take care of himself. Which one is poor man?
Comfort. Thing is, we also have to sort of like create a balance, be in touch with reality. A lot of times, personally, I've also encountered some women who have money or affluence and wealth, and then they are so proud and rude and all of that. But like that thing got me thinking at some point, because I'm like, okay, I'm somebody that I like to advocate for women's rights and all of that. So I started thinking, I was like, okay, because I've had a personal encounter, and I started thinking, what's arousing this sort of, I don't know, rage?
Arrogance.
Okay. That's how you see that sometimes women have money and they still need some sort of validation from the men they feel they do not need validation from. So I was like, okay, I think some of these things that affect the personality of some women, because it's not all women.
Not all women.
Is
Definitely.
the fact that, ordinarily, how patriarchal society can be. If you as a woman now, it's sort of like you're breaking the norm. You now acquire one kind of wealth and all.
Yeah.
It now feels like, okay, is this what's making these men feel like men? Do you understand? That's what might be. That's where her anger might be coming from and all. Because it's something that's affected her personality now. Because you're saying that even the rich ones that she dates, she still speaks to them very rudely and all of that. So that's what has affected their... It's just like a woman that occupies a top executive position. Okay. I don't know why, but sometimes she sort of loses it.
Yeah.
Do you get?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's almost like, okay, these men under her, they're going to feel her oppression.
True.
It's like, okay, you say I couldn't get there, I'm there. She constantly has to do stuff to show you that, okay, don't take it that because I'm a woman and in this position, you're going to talk to me anyhow. I'm still going to show you that, okay, I earned this and all of that. So to me, it might be just arising from a place of rage. But I still feel deeply that there are women that no matter how much they have, they'll still show you maximum respect.
Nah, very few. Very, very few.
Stop saying
But they're not very few.
They're not so few.
Very, very
There are women like that too.
Seriously, they are not as few as you
Have you not encountered any?
You've not seen any lady that is meek to
for example, a lady that is a breadwinner of the family, for example, still respecting the husband.
Very well.
Babe, she go change one day.
To the core, 100%.
What will make her change? What is that?
Except if your attitude, maybe you're doing something.
That's what I'm saying. The guy go do something one day where she go change him for him.
When things are not changing yet for the guy.
No, that cannot be an excuse.
I'm telling you.
That the guy is not changing for
yes, for the guy. Like the guy, she has waited 1 year, 2 years.
No improvement.
No, not that.
She's going to lose it. I'm telling you.
She will lose it.
Even if you are the one, you will lose it.
Excuse me, before she will wait now, before she will lose it, there must be something that guy has. Not.
Come off it.
Nothing. The guy did not do anything.
For instance, wait. Maybe he did something.
No.
I'm paying your bills. For instance, you're my husband. I'm paying your bills. I put a car on your ass.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Fund your ego and everything. Yeah. And then you have the effrontery. You have the audacity to cheat on me with my property. Are you okay?
See,
that's what you have pushed her to
cheating,
it.
you will change.
No,
you're going to
she's
change.
not changing.
Because there will be a projection in your mind. Like,
now, if she comes back, if she comes back, and there's still this love flow between you two, she's not gonna have an issue with you. But when she feels that she's losing you, she can become enraged. You cannot tell me that because things did not change.
You see this one you're saying is one part, but it's another part of nothing. The guy did not cheat. Nothing.
He did not cheat.
The guy is still loyal.
But is he lazy?
But the problem is
that he lazy?
Probably, maybe.
There's laziness. She can get mad at him.
There's laziness. There's issue.
If there's laziness, there's issue.
And to me, there's laziness on the part of the guy and not the girl.
You have the qualification. Go and apply. And you say no.
It's not that. That's what I'm saying.
You say no. You have to go down there.
I've seen this kind of thing.
Without laziness, there will be issue because
what's
normally
the issue going to be?
money is power. Take it or you leave it.
And absolute power does what?
Now she get this money, fine. She they pay the bills. Take it or you leave it. She go get the projection for her mind. Okay, fine. I want to endure this thing for like 5-7 years.
Yeah.
Let's see what's happening. The guy they struggle for
this
that 5-7 years, but
nothing still they come.
If she sees
she
you
go lose
she
her.
will not get mad at you.
Babe, don't say what you don't know.
Regardless of how
I've seen it.
I've seen it. I'm saying that you're trying to make.
Yes, I have seen it.
How would I be mad at you?
Because the thing has not come
to someone that
she's already tired. She's already tired. She wants you to come and feel that part as a man.
She's not stupid. She's not that. You are trying.
You don't want to
agree. You are putting effort. I will not be mad at you for what?
It's not like
but when
that.
I say, babe, this thing is happening here, and you cannot even lift a finger.
And men, when they're not getting money, they have insecurities.
Yes,
because they are men.
They become sort of annoying. They have insecurities too because there's this thing at the back of their mind that okay, she's bringing the money, so she wants me to act this way. She wants me to act that way.
It's the truth. Most times when the ladies are bringing the money, they want the guys to act a certain way.
It's
actually the truth. So it takes a very, very disciplined guy to not show it to the wife or whatever. Do you understand? So if the guy is not disciplined enough, he might probably show exactly. But if he's a disciplined person, fine, I'll be dying inside, but trust me.
Why would you be dying inside?
No, because it's a man. A man is a man.
I'm
telling you now. It's not now.
You always feel like let me explain to you. The concept of a man. You're not a man. Let me explain something.
Okay, I'm not a man. Tell me. But that man.
This is this. Let me explain something.
You said the concept of a man.
No, it's because she doesn't understand why a guy will want to be angry. Because he feels, see, I'm the head of this home.
Okay.
The responsibility should
be on my shoulder.
For me, since I'm not
Why should the responsibility be solely?
I'm telling you how a man is.
Okay, wait,
now listen.
Let's hear Brother Man. He's still talking. Brother Man, let's hear him.
Because he feels like this thing, I should shoulder this responsibility.
Okay.
Then if he wants to help, fine. If he's not able to feel in that position, he feels like less of a man. That's what's happening to him.
But that's already wrong.
That is you. Man. That's what the society, everything has conditioned the man.
Because if I cannot pay the bills now, it doesn't mean I will never pay the bills. It's just for a time being. And if I'm not lazy, why?
It's just like a guy growing up and a girl growing up. You're growing up with your sister. See, you're growing up with your sister. A guy cries. A guy cries. The mom or the dad tell you, you're a boy. My friend, shut up. You're not supposed to cry. It's what happens to all the men. I'm telling you. It's what has shaped all. Good. It's now that the new age mom are beginning to learn this. Before our time, they didn't tell us. They didn't allow us to cry. They didn't allow us to cry. They allow you cry. They don't allow you cry now. They'll tell you say you're supposed to do this thing. You're supposed to protect your sister. You're supposed to do this one. You're supposed a lot of things shaping.
Okay.
Let me ask. Comfort, let me ask you one question.
Face me, ask me a question.
And Joan, so I'm asking to you this question.
Yes.
Would any babe of today see a guy that is struggling and say, yes, this is the guy I want to marry.
Yes. Why not? Yes. Plenty yes.
The guy no get money.
Yes. Plenty yes.
Also, maybe he dey scot with person self.
Joanne,
You never get your own place.
Would you, Joanne?
And of all the other options where you see guy where they drive Benz, you see the one where they drive Honda.
Bentley.
You can't say
yes.
You can't see.
How
You even see one where won't even carry you.
How would you do it?
Yes.
You can't see the one where they village. You now say yes.
Don't say village. We can be here together.
Realistic.
Joanne, yes, I'm trying
to
be
realistic. Don't say village.
Be realistic.
Okay, can I talk?
Be realistic.
Don't say village.
Wait,
contribute what he said.
Contribute then I'll
The way you
answer.
talk now. Now in two ways, in two parts. That's number one. If you want to go for that particular guy, that means you've seen it all. Like your parents get money, you don't see everything. But trust me, if you're a broke ass person too, if you're broke, you go.
Can I say something?
Please,
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Let me answer. No, I don't want to just disprove what they have said because I mean they made valid points. But the thing is, first off, even if the guy is like you said, he's struggling. See me, I'm not going to like go straight on with what you've said. But if the guy is working hard, there's something there. Plus, don't add village. There's nothing I can't even find love there. First of all, the thing is,
when I say village, I mean all these towns.
Okay, like
Kuchingoro, Masaka,
Maraba.
Very, very big mistake. This thing you're saying, this working hard you're saying, even babes know they use them again. We are in a modern life. In fact, babes want guy will just walk.
No, I don't know. You guys, that's what I'm not that babe.
I said this before.
I'm not that
babe.
babe.
You guys have been meeting.
I'm not that babe. See, I'm not saying I'm going to meet a broadcast, a completely broadcast person. When you're working hard, like you have something you are doing, guy.
You open my and say, as your host no one hear the pay, say put on for Yahoo. Now Yahoo will pay you quick.
I'm not that girl.
Was she serious?
I'm not that girl.
I'm telling you, serious.
I'm not that girl.
She knows my hustle.
I'm not that girl.
Put on for Yahoo.
Emmanuel, even aside from that, Emmanuel, the kind era we are now, even your parents, our so-called parents will be telling us, why you no go do Yahoo?
You won't follow him.
I'm not that girl.
You know why I say you wait. You know why I say you won't follow him?
If I love him.
You know why I say John too will not follow him?
It can be tempting that
there's
there's
very simple reason.
I don't want to.
You can't see the future.
What future?
Yes.
You don't know what the future holds for that guy.
What? Okay, what? Do I know the future?
I don't know my future.
Wait,
calm down.
Joanne,
See,
do I know the future of the Bentley guy?
Look at it this way.
What if he becomes broke tomorrow?
Look at it this way.
Please don't even.
You are seeing someone. The guy is hustling. He's struggling.
He wants to make headway.
He can
we'll
barely
feed
himself or make himself survive. You can't say you won't stay with her. You can't leave the one where we say get good job or get good business. He's doing fine.
Please, sorry.
You now say you will not go for that one.
Wait.
See, first things first. This guy that is struggling, you don't know when he's going to make it.
I think we need to put this. I think we need to contextualize this struggling. Wait, hold on. This was struggling because I need to wait. I need my point to be very clear so that those watching will understand what I said. I will not. Wait, no.
His salary is 30,000 naira.
No, I cannot. I can't marry. No.
You
can't marry. That's what I'm saying. Wait.
But he has a future. He's working
hard.
hard.
What is 30K? No.
He's working
hard. I can't even marry myself if I'm collecting 30K.
Can you imagine?
I can't even collect 30K. Wait. Calm down. What I'm saying is that first of all, you people should not make this thing look so like we're going for one wretched person. Wait, calm down. You people should calm down. As I said, I need my point to be gotten very clear. At least a month.
It's just not
at least a month. 300, 350.
This guy is a mad person.
See.
Madam,
you have to say that. Take that back.
I'm sorry. I take it back. But we have guys in which Nigeria.
So what school do my children go to?
We have
300 what?
300. What are you saying? You have married couples.
Are you in this Nigeria? Are you receiving 300,000?
Let's have one person.
Are you receiving
70,000
as salary?
And they get paid.
Surviving.
No, I'm a lady. I'm survive.
So now you're saying
okay. So the guy is mad.
No, we need to get things clear. I mean, I don't know. We need to get things clear. So okay, I said 300, 350. Can you settle with 50K?
Yeah, salary.
We can't foot our bills now.
Can you pay rent?
So why are we arguing?
But he has future now. Is that what?
But he has future now. Why are we arguing?
I don't understand why you guys are like this.
That's your bullet point.
Wait, what bullet point? See, stop painting the worst of pictures. Stop
I
saying
don't
that.
know that. 350 is even hardship in this time.
So the 50,000 person who will marry him now.
Now you the marry you.
Who are you leaving the guy for?
The 50,000 person who
you
you
know
are
why I said 350? Because I also be earning. So you have my money and his money.
First class graduate, 50K.
He's collecting the line. It's a lie. We have been collecting 50K.
Who is paying him 50K?
You guys know in Abuja.
What kind of jobs? I'm in Abuja and I'm seeing jobs.
Joan, calm down. You know, all these guys where they work for bank, when they count, how much did they pay them?
90,000.
Which bank?
How can
Don't
they
talk
pay
the
them
name of the
100?
bank. No worry.
Wait.
All those guys when they work for counter, the highest.
Are you sure you're
70K.
Their
salary.
It's like the
All
one
those guys
that
when
has money.
they
Your papa get money
where they
back.
collect your money. Highest now 70K.
Joanne.
Jesus.
It's like I'm so
For 30
that you don't know what's
For 30
happening.
days make a pay.
So now from now on
30
you should
days
begin
make a
to now respect
Those when they
guys
work for
you see
insurance
how
company,
a
how
guy
much
is
did they pay
struggling.
them?
I'm not
Answer.
struggling.
Some of them they earn on commission.
So babe, you didn't know
They don't bring any clients. They don't
I have
collect
seen a
anything
second class
for the month.
graduate, like second class upper, 50K.
But you know,
I'm
as a
taking
man,
you to
Wait.
I'm taking you through all the sectors now.
Wait, Sheyi, wait.
Marriage.
I don't see lawyer where they work for law firm, where they pay them 45K salary.
Sheyi, wait. But as a man, you should not have one stream of income. If they are
As a human being, don't say as a
no,
man.
wait
I
now.
disagree.
Wait, as a man that he's saying that I should go and meet him now for 20,000. How much did you call the salary? 50K. You should not even have one stream of income.
If now one stream of income I can't know, if I don't know all that,
I like this
income,
part.
nothing I go do.
I bet after she finish, I like this part. If you come, if you finish,
No, you should
I'll
not
come
have
tell you
one stream
something.
of income.
I will tell you something.
Oh yeah, talk. Say it.
You
Say
don't have one
it.
stream of income,
Yes,
right?
now.
Do you know that it is not everybody? Listen to me. It's not
Which one is
everybody.
it?
You need to
Not one
understand
stream of
this.
income.
It
Yes,
is not
you should go to how many
everybody.
streams
Wait
you can
now.
do business.
No,
It's
no,
not
no, no.
everybody.
You can do business, but it's not everybody.
Listen to
Wait.
me. It's not everybody that is wired to do business.
It's not
Yeah,
everybody.
Actually, as some people, the nature of the job might not even allow them to have
What's
other
another
stream
stream
of
of
income.
income?
Let's be realistic.
What other stream of income?
So I should be
You know how Nigerian jobs are. They're not like abroad that you work early.
That's
That you
not
can do
what other stream of
work in
income.
the night.
Shay, what
It's
other
not
stream of
easy.
income apart
It's
from
actually
selling
not
the
easy.
business?
No,
It's
no,
not
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Which other stream of
I
income?
think Nigeria, which other stream?
I think I can get what you're
Tell
saying.
us. Apart from business.
Okay. Not business now.
Which one?
Like
Which one?
Suggest.
I know what she's encouraging.
That's
How?
business now. If
That's a
business
different
now,
line
that's
of
a
job.
different-
That's a different line of
No.
job.
I can be in an office and you have a job due for me. I can't do it. It's not side hustle.
Like what?
Comfort, are they common in this country? Remote jobs, are they common?
This is
Come on.
Nigeria.
Aside that your office job, what else can you
Why are
do?
you hinging it that the
This
man
is
should have
Nigeria.
different?
This is
I don't
Nigeria.
agree.
No,
No,
Nigeria
I'm not
be
saying.
No,
just
wait. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying?
Sheyi said
It's not
wait,
easy.
Sheyi
Let's
said
be
my guy will
realistic.
be earning
Yes.
50,000 naira.
Yes.
Wait, and I'm saying that as a human being, as a thinking human being, you should not have one stream of income.
Comfort, how many
What should
streams
you
of income
have?
do you
What
have
should
as
you
a
have?
person?
Oh, yeah, what should
Wait,
you have?
calm
How
down.
many streams
Let's
do you
go. Let's be realistic.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Very
You don't want me to
It
shock
is
you.
not easy. If you have, please share.
I'm not
need more
sharing with
streams
you. I'm
of
just
income.
telling you that you don't.
So to say, okay,
that-
so
I
as
have-
your
it's
as
not
your
easy,
as
oh.
your
You know
guy
it's not easy.
as your
Wait,
guy
now,
now.
I have 1 naira. As a human being, as a thinking human being, I should be able to think of how can my 1 naira become 2 naira.
How do you
How do you do it?
Oh yeah, in Nigeria, how do you do it? People that already even have the stream. It's not working for them.
She too dey hear all these motivational speakers now. Why?
How I dey do? Ask am.
I
How
have more
I
than
dey
10 streams of income.
Okay,
What
so
are
what
you
happened?
telling me?
They are finished.
He get logistic. He get
Wait
penetrate.
now,
Ask am how
wait,
when
you don't
last
break
you
my
don
hand,
see
guy.
this
Wait,
thing.
come, let your blood
You
pressure
too dey
come
listen
down.
to
See, let me tell
motivational
you something.
speakers.
Motivational speaker. Let me
Yeah, I
kill
know
us for
it's
this.
You are the
No.
best. You can do it. You can
Let
do
me
it.
tell you
People
something.
that
You
have
say you have
multiple
10
business.
streams.
See now,
Business.
see,
Even we get plenty.
let me tell you
Business
something.
established.
Sorry,
It's not
even if
easy.
you have,
actually.
even if you have
It's not
30
easy,
streams
but you
of
would-
income,
Some
you
jobs,
might not be
sometimes
doing
your
well.
first stream of income might not
yes.
allow you.
Yes, now.
Everyone is
This
business.
is
Not be
Nigeria.
everybody
What
does
do you
business.
do?
And that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
first
yeah.
stream as in your normal job
Yes,
might
would
not.
not
And
allow
remember
you.
that you
So a
can't
job
just
that
start a
takes me-
business.
sweetheart.
You know the mistake people make. I have a normal stream of income and I have a side business. Business is big deal. Oh.
Business
You
is
have to
very
put
big
in
deal. You have to put in
everything.
great deal of
sure
you
it
don't
works,
leave your
make sure
job
it
to go and
grows.
face
So if you have a
Don't do that.
9 to
But
5
I'm
job,
telling you that you don't-
please,
you don't
I want
have
to know
people
where
that want
you
to
order,
big
where the
business.
order this thing comes.
So if more imagine say your guy now no fit do pass that 50K job.
Yeah,
Wey dey do.
some
You no
people
get that
can't.
business sense now. For example,
Remember,
now.
guys are
May give me
different.
50K, may we help and multiply am.
How you want the help and multiply?
MMM.
So as he can't get only that 50K now, Now, make we assume say you they make 250k. Your guy they make 50k. On a day house.
We are fine.
No, wait, calm down.
Fine,
okay, you are fine.
Yes.
We used to accord him the same respect.
Yes.
I will respect. I will call him
as long as he respects himself.
Wait, excuse me. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. For how long? For how long?
For how long?
For how long will you be comfortable?
For how long can you
in that house?
For as long as we can start our joint family conglomerate.
Yes.
Nah lie.
Thank you.
Come off it. Stop that.
Somebody wey want person again wey he say 350,000.
You can't say you respect person with it.
Sorry, I don't know what 50K
sorry, let me analyze something for you. Fine, we are actually married. Let me ask both of them. We are married. I'm receiving 50K. No, anybody could answer.
Okay, so what do you want?
We are married. I'm receiving 50K as salary.
And my own is 250.
No, even
you married when you're receiving 50K.
It's possible now.
Why are you rushing?
It's possible.
Calm down now.
Where are you going?
So we will start family with 50K. How much is it to give birth to hospital?
Do you know why we start family?
You say you have love now.
Wait. Let me answer.
She is joking. Can't be 50K.
Joanne, let me answer you now. Joanne, let me answer you. Joanne, do you know why you're going to marry me for that 50K?
Collecting 50,000 every month.
You don't shoot yourself for. You know why you got.
Why I go marry?
You know why you go marry because of say idea.
You did hard work.
You don't project in 5 years.
You don't talk already now. Say you did hard work.
You don't project and say in 5 years this guy is going to be
I'm not wired
trillionaire.
No.
You know what? Can you imagine?
But you don't say
you don't see now.
He's hard working.
Exactly. I'm hardworking. I'm showing you.
But he's still hardworking.
I'm hardworking.
Let me remind you again. This is Nigeria. Okay, you are Aryan.
Stop saying this. Okabola. We are busy.
Oh yeah, now. But at the time, remind me. Like person that say we dey Canada. Now Nigeria we dey.
Canada or UK.
To me, when you want to get married, there's a lot of things that you have to put in perspective.
Financial freedom.
This is what people wait. Calm down. I'm not saying that.
Finance determines the marriage.
No, I'm not saying that.
Does finance determine the marriage?
Do you know that as a man, for your own sake?
It's Sunday school. You were told that. It's Sunday school. We were taught that for you to say that you want to get married, you have to be mature in some areas, and one of them is finances.
Okay.
Now still the same thing to tell you say you don't need money to marry.
You cannot be.
I don't hear
finances.
As pastors they tell you.
Now when you have someone who it is this person that is providing 90% of the finances, to you, who holds the power in that relationship?
Come on, why are you saying
it's just a question now.
He
shared 50-50.
Yes.
For the main time.
Yes.
Sorry, the honest truth is that for the main time. The honest truth is that for the main time. For the main time. Now you will get the highest. But later, if you can't help it again, go begin to misbehave now. What are you telling me?
See, women are not wired to be breadwinners. Simple. Take it or leave it.
Yes,
women are not wired to be providers. By the time she will survive the first year, she no go complain.
Yes.
The second year, she will even survive.
From that third year, don't start.
Now she go talk say you are eating too much. Now every time two meat.
I'm telling you.
Take it easy now.
No.
This one is not easy.
This one is not easy. Everybody has to
cut down.
Do you understand?
Everybody has to adjust.
Even me, like everybody has to cut down.
Stop it.
We're tight on finances. We're tight on finances. You can't be living a lavish life.
How are you tight on finances? You are making the money.
See,
no. But like it's one.
Joanne,
you are making the money now.
You can see it is too big, but the size will be different.
So you now got
let me tell you something. Why you know why you
see you don't listen.
No, now them they shoot themselves.
Joanne, let me tell you something.
I won't love him less because he's not
Why would I love you less because you don't have money?
Let me tell you why you change.
When I genuinely love you,
and I will not love you more because you have money.
Yes.
I won't love you more.
Or you respect him more.
I will deny Canada.
I will not disrespect
I'm not even talking of
blood.
You will respect him more if you
I will
have
respect both of them in my head.
Do you know what? Man, you proud the notion that when you have money, they respect you more. Do you know it's a fantasy? That you have more money, they respect you. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's that money. It's that money that is making you feel. It's in your mind.
It's a mind. It's a
your mind is playing with you. It's in your mind.
There is a reason why. Joanne, let me tell you something. There is a
girls like you more.
Joanne,
it's in your mind.
I have money. I have money. You will like me more.
Your money is playing my games with you.
If I have money now, I like you. I give you 1 million naira now. You like fucking date me right now.
Yeah,
that's a lie.
And you will do anything.
What are you telling me?
Your mind is playing with you.
Don't get it.
Money is playing mind games with you.
There's a reason why when you go to clubs and you buy Red Bull, they are still playing normal whiskey. And when you buy rosé, they switch to Tonine. Why? It's the money that has the power to change, to motivate the DJ to change their music. There is a reason why when a senator or a big business mogul goes to church and they say, sir, come and sit in front.
Yes, sir.
And you are coming with your Passat or Toyota Corolla and they say, please stay here. Why? It is the money that determines.
Even money is
there is a reason why.
Money is a motivational.
Don't get that finished. That is it. You see money.
I'm telling you.
Whoever has the money has the power. Calls the shots.
Simple.
That is why it is advisable that they say that it is the man that should hold the money. In marriage.
Doesn't make any
Even in
sense.
marriage.
Not in marriage.
In marriage.
You are given instances
In
of
marriage.
churches, of clubs, but not in marriage.
In marriage.
No.
In a real life,
It's
sorry,
not correct.
excuse me, in a real life, when it comes to the other side, you getting married to a broken
Emmanuel, I don't know, I hear the voice in my head. What?
In a real life, we have business plan, and also we have marriage plans. Marriage plans, they be like it's in a business.
Not like business plan.
You don't project and say, 5 years, let me endure for this guy.
He's going to make trillions.
Come on now.
What kind
of projections?
You make money. This time I'm making the appreciate. Even the appreciate. And you say you respect that.
And you say you respect him. How now?
Even the way we are going to be sleeping, why you call me?
Any small thing you say good. Okay, I've been working since morning. I'm tired. Stop.
I'm telling you.
Did you just say that? Do you mean it?
Yes. Does it look like?
Everything will
I'm not that kind of girl anyway.
No, I'm not either.
Are you saying that women do not mind being the breadwinners of
They
the family
do
for
not
life?
mind.
For life.
Women have been doing it
for life, forever.
Women out there and at this point, shout out to those women.
All true till death.
Women have been doing it. They are still doing it.
Which women?
Shout out to them. They're out there. I see you. I see you.
Where you see them?
I see you.
I don't hear you, Baba. Excuse me. Let me tell you the confusion of those women. Most of those women, now them they turn baby mama last because they feel say the guy no fear endure. Then we just pull out.
They will just leave the guy as liability.
They
don't pull out. They will know their own. Yes.
Most of them they are not baby mama.
No be
baby mama.
Just saying that. That
I don't
ideology
agree. Yes.
adjusted.
Which ideology?
This ideology of
It
it's
is
only when you have
personality. Kind of.
By Nigeria, by the constitution of
it is the reality.
government.
You cannot adjust it.
What should be adjusted?
Reality.
Who is adjusting it? Because he's saying should be adjusted by
you guys should adjust it.
That's why
it is the reality.
The real one.
See, let's face reality.
That's what it be.
So when you have
cannot
I respect
change
you
it.
more,
Yes.
then I respect you now.
Yes,
Sheyi.
very true.
Oh, ban the billion.
There is no way.
What
There is no
you
sector
not
of this
true.
life that you will
When it
call
comes to your
that money does not control.
May I even give an instance?
That's why I even gave you the example of church. That even in our churches, they respect money, pass Holy Spirit. They respect money, pass person with their spirit feel.
Even that marriage parasite, you they think far. As in, as babes, as they did. If you invite your clique of friends come your wedding, trust me, you go select them. The ones who you get money pass. If stand up come begin, you go hail her pass all the ones who say they
definitely now.
Take it true or false.
Definitely.
Who is hailing who?
Definitely.
Oh Jesus.
False now. Value. What happens to our value system? I don't understand.
What value are you talking
What
about?
happens to our value?
Are you saying that the value system has been monetized?
Value, yes. And you don't have value.
Can we make a valid argument here and say the value system has been monetized?
Yes, perfectly well.
Money is the motivational speaker.
He's a
Stop
motivational
saying this
speaker.
thing.
This
Stop
thing is
saying
saying
it.
is the
Stop
truth.
saying
Why you
it.
calling
What
money
he's saying is the
If
truth.
you have
He's a
money
motivational
more than
speaker.
your guy,
He's a
I am
motivational
90% sure you will not respect him
Very
like
true.
you should if he
What
has
you're
money
saying
more
is
than
true.
you.
Yes.
It's very true.
I will still
I'm telling you.
respect him. the way
I'm not saying you will
he
respect
respected.
him.
The way I will respect him when he has 10 billion.
Okay, wait, calm down. Wait. Make I ask one more question.
What's
You
the
have
question?
money more than your guy. Two of them can't get conflict. He can't slap you.
He can't slap me.
He not slap you. What will you do?
When I don't react,
No,
when
wait,
I
chill,
even
chill,
have
chill,
money
chill.
and he slaps
Wait,
me,
wait,
he's in trouble already.
Wait.
Which is
Calm
money
down.
I will slap.
Answer. No, wait, you. Answer what I talk. Now you get money past this guy. Now you
can't
get.
slap
Now
me.
you
Now can't
build
get
the
you,
house
you
where
can't
they
slap
live in.
you.
Now you give him car. Now you they give him allowance.
I can't collect car
Una
for
can't
house.
get
I
issue.
can't for house. I
He
won't
can't
do that.
slap you.
I
What
won't
you
do
go
that.
do?
I will just be quiet.
When they get money,
Are you okay?
Wait, I'll be quiet.
Remember, you almost said even if he has money more than me, what
Yes,
will
wait.
you do?
I need to understand this.
Wait.
You said it will slap me.
You be quiet.
Listen,
wait,
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 you
wait,
first.
wait,
we're going to ask her after.
What will
Listen.
you do?
What will I do? I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
First of all, I will be shocked. I will look at him.
You'll be shocked.
If you slapped me.
Like say,
wait.
you came in late. Think what they asked you say, where are you coming from? You now said, I went to work and I went to do business. At this time, he lied.
I said, babe, you slapped me. Don't forget that.
So you now say, babe, you slapped me. Now you they bring money.
Wait.
Babe, you slapped me.
Wait.
We are talk.
And now, Maybe I'm waiting for him to say sorry. It was a mistake.
He will not say if you say that baby slap me, I will slap you again.
What
would you do?
Are
you going to call him baby again?
No, baby.
Okay.
Baby, I finished.
Okay. Baby, I finished.
So what will you do?
I will jump on him.
You jump on him.
Do you know what?
You
comfort.
I'm sure you will not only fight him. The next day, you will call police to go and lock him up. They will teach him a lesson there before they bring him out. Now that is the first scenario. Now imagine now him get all the money. Now him they sustain you. Now him they feed you, they clothe you, they take care of your family. They do everything. Now he can't come. You can't come late. Where you come? The same thing. He slap you. Why? What are you gonna do?
Would you jump at him?
Will you jump at him?
I didn't do it.
I
don't know you were just.
Why would you slap me? Are you not my husband?
Complete your own face. You're not talking.
You will not jump.
Let's ask
If it's the one providing for you.
Let's ask
if it's you, those two scenarios, what will you do?
Please tell us.
First scenario, you're the one that have money.
You will not beat me. You will not beat me.
Let's go on.
You will not beat me. Even if you have the money.
First thing, what will you do?
I'm still saying what I'm saying.
That's what.
How I will react if you have money is how I react if you don't have money.
Now, but just answer our question first.
Let me ask you.
What
all those ones do even fast. Just simple questions.
Ask again. Let's hear.
You and your husband. Fine. Now you they do all pass for the house. Like fine. You and your husband now. You never even see 1 million naira before. But at least you guys are just managing. So maybe somebody just can't dash you 100 million naira. So the money hit your account this night. See, trust me. Even night you go misbehave to your husband for house.
How? Who is moved by that thing?
I don't know who has been acting.
Oh yeah, there's no problem. Oh yeah, answer the question that she asked. The two scenarios.
She said she react the same way now.
No, I didn't answer.
What are you saying?
And you jump
at him, right?
I will jump at him.
If you are the one that have the money, okay, now
if he's the one that has the money,
I will still say.
You knowing fully well that he can decide and say, "Get out of my house this night."
I will get out
with my pride. With my pride, with my head held up high.
Which foolish head you get out?
Nobody said you. So okay, so when you have money, it's licensed to misbehave.
I don't understand.
Because you have money.
Now try to get.
No, for you to hit me, I mean it's licensed to misbehave.
No.
Whether you have the money or you don't have the money, you hit me, you are in trouble. Take it or you leave it.
Are you going to call him baby or not?
Baby. With slap. The first one is baby.
Maybe say your husband na major general. You can't say you hit me, you're in trouble. Major general. So you hit me, you're in trouble.
You can't even allow to hit your wife anyhow.
He's not allowed to beat his wife.
Okay.
He's not allowed to
beat his wife.
If he beats me, he has lost his job.
How?
And he lost his job, then hunger kills you.
Two of us now. Are we not in it together?
Since you cannot behave, you cannot discipline yourself. You allow money to allow you misbehave.
I'm telling you,
you
are not being realistic.
You allow money to allow you misbehave.
Don't stop saying
because money is licensed.
Even that you have money, doesn't mean you can treat me like trash. It's not
money is licensed to act.
I'm not treating you like trash.
Why would you slap me? Slap me for what?
Why?
You misbehave and I sample you.
You sample me.
What are
you
now saying? When I have money, I'm paying your bills. All your siblings, I send them goods to your parents. I pay them on salary. You say you want to jump at me? What are you saying? Come on, please, baby.
I will jump at you.
Now your parents go say, my friend.
Even your parents will follow you and come and do that.
They'll come back.
What kind of parents they are now? I'm telling you. What kind of parents they are now? They will follow you and come and kneel down and beg.
Our in-law beg, no beg. Don't mind this stupid child. We didn't
train her that way. But you know what they are saying? What you guys are saying now, you have just proven to us that money has replaced values in this country. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
if that is what you want to believe it.
Yes. Money is a motivational speaker.
Exactly.
Money is not a motivational
answer.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin.